So back when I started creating things, back when I drove Adam and Eve out of Eden, and after I invented murder with Cain and Abel and caused the Ice Age by accident, things seemed simpler back then. And as time went on, I created more and more stuff. Things got more and more and more complicated. So here we are, way in the future, like kind of in the, not the present, but in the past. But things have progressed quite a way, and I invented rules, right? And people started getting carried away with my rules. They started getting carried. They'd started creating rules, or they started calling them laws against some of the other things I created, like murder, for example, and marijuana, prostitution. Like all these things I created, they're starting to outlaw gambling. What the hell? All these things I thought were pretty cool, or at least pretty interesting, now were illegal. So, because they went against these rules. And then I invented cages by accident. Well, not by accident, but I didn't know what they could do with them. And they started making these jails, and they started taking people who, were doing one of the things I invented, but violating the rules, and they put them in these cages. And I was just like, I was getting fed up with it, So I said, listen, we need to have a way that we can allow these people to make an argument so that they don't have to follow the rules. Who invented these rules anyway? I mean, I'm not saying that they shouldn't follow the rules. I'm saying, though, they should at least be able to argue on their behalf that what they were doing was not wrong. And if, a bunch of people from society get together and say they were wrong, well, we can call them wrong and put them in the cage. But a bunch of people get together and say, they really weren't wrong, we should let them free, right? And I started putting, this whole idea together, and because I had just invented disagreements, we started being able to go and disagree with the laws and the rules. So I created what's called lawyers, which is a specific person that was meant to go and take the law and use it, which is another word for cutting it into shreds. So those were lawyers, and a lawyer would represent someone who's in a cage and help them argue their point. And we'd get a group of people. We settled on the number 2. I wanted like 15. Some other guy wanted 10. We settled on the number 12, and we called that a jury. I don't know where, because that guy's name was Jory, and I don't know. We decided to call it jury after him. And then the attorney, the lawyer, so another word was attorney, and that's because the first one just kept turning around and around, and we said attorney, because he's turning. Anyway, the attorney would disagree with the rule and try to convince the jury that his disagreement, that he was the right one and the rule was the wrong one. And eventually, they, the lawmakers, the guys creating these rules said, well, there should be a person that runs the rules, like someone who argues on behalf of the rules. So you have the person arguing on behalf of the person who breaks the rules, and then you have someone arguing on behalf of the rules, and the two of them disagree, and they argue together, and then the jury decides which argument's better and who should win. And then they decide to let the person out or make him stay in a cage for the rest of his life or whatever they decide to do. But anyway, I came up with the idea of, we call that a trial, because it was really trying. I said, don't try me. We came up with trial. And then we have 2 lawyers, and we have a jury, and we have the person who was accused, and then we'd have these laws, the rules, and all together would make this kind of like what we call like a kangaroo court, because there were always kangaroos jumping around back then. They got rid of the kangaroos eventually, but the kangaroos were jumping around all the time. We usually held them in Australia. That's why they're kangaroos. So that was a kangaroo court, and that's where court and lawyers and juries and all that got invented. So I really feel bad about that, because even that got more out of control. Now we got the Supreme Court, and we got everyone likes lawsuits. Now there's not just breaking the rules. Now there are 2 people who want to cry about each other. Oh my God, he stepped on my grass. He owes me money because he stepped on my grass. I don't know. Let's go argue it out in front of a jury. And then we'd have to have someone keep control of the court. We called him the judge. And originally I was the judge, but we had too many of these damn cases that we had to get other judges, and I quit. And it gave me such a headache, these people arguing all the time. And I invented all this shit that all snapped together to create this. And I felt real bad about it. Some of my stuff gets out of control. I can't help it. Now I can't get rid of it. I try to get rid of it. I created lobbying to try to get rid of it. I got all these people together to try to argue with the powers that be, people who were kind of running the rules, to argue with them to get rid of it. And they're just like, fuck you. And they sent out the National Guard to beat the shit out of these people. And I felt real bad about that too. So I just pretended I didn't know them. So, a lot of stuff came out of that. I feel real bad about it. You know, so please forgive me. I'm probably gonna create more stuff that no one likes. I mean, life sucks, man. And I created everything, so I create a lot of sucky stuff. You just have to accept that I'm an asshole. I create some good stuff too, like marijuana and Pepsi. Well, I didn't really create Pepsi. I just drink it. But I love you all. Keep watching my show, even though I'm an asshole. Thank you, guys. Subscribe, please.